This thing on? Sweet. We are doing something a little bit different today. Let me move this mic as I kind of go along. With the new tech that I've been picking up, one thing that I've been wanting to work on is the privacy shutter for this Elgato FaceCam over here. Let's switch over to this cam. Yes. So with the Elgato FaceCam, I have two of them. One of them is front facing for my main primary, I guess, communication, streaming, and like meeting kind of camera. So that's what I have off to the left. I have a secondary camera, which is typically mounted over here, and that's what I unassembled and I put down over here. Now the thing with this is that the Elgato FaceCam, great quality. Hold on, let me figure out how to move this mic. Great quality in terms of the camera. The one thing that it does have is this enclosure or like face kind of cover, but it's literally just one piece that you just kind of snap on and off. So from a privacy perspective, like this isn't kind of hanging, like you literally need to put it somewhere. And the solution that I was looking for is something that actually latches onto the front and you can kind of close with just like a little hinge. So this is kind of how it comes stock. This is the pre-existing one. I did also want to show that it does come with this standard kind of webcam, base that hooks up to your monitor, which can swivel and all this other types of stuff. But I take it off for my purposes. I already have a separate arm on the side over here, so we don't need this at all. Just kind of want to show it, get out of the way. And again, this Elgato FaceCam, this is the Mark 1, so it's the original edition, not as good as the new one, but still a great camera nonetheless. Also, let me know how the audio is, because I did switch, at least like the way that the mic is sort of, right below me, and I could adjust the boom if necessary. Desktop audio is at 25%, and the Yeti mic is at 100%. So see how that goes. But yeah, so I ended up going online to find something that I could 3D print, because when I went on Etsy, these things were like 20-30 bucks each. So I figured I'd jump on Thingiverse and try my hand at 3D printing something. And I came across this design by Bread for Gaming. And it's a two piece, print, which is basically the base that slots into and ports into the actual FaceCam itself. And then also the privacy cover flip, which is just held by tension. I picked this specific design because I didn't want to go with one that I needed to get like a copper rod or another, I guess, a third piece. So this should work just fine, but we'll see once it's actually installed. So I did want to give credit to Bread for Gaming. That's BRED number 4 Gaming on the Thingiverse. So take a look at the stuff they have there. I pretty much picked up the the file. I ended up sending it to the Hazel McCallion library here by Square One through email. Did this whole process where you kind of watch a video, submit a form, and then they just kind of run the print job for you. You go there, you pick it up after you're quoted and stuff like that. So I did end up picking up two, as you can see over here, because I do have two of these cameras. Again, one I usually have off to the side that's shooting further into the studio, and then the other camera is the one that's kind of dead on. But for this purpose, I did want to basically take these apart. In transit, they did come off their supports or their base pieces over here. But let's take a look. Again, this one, it has already come off. I'm just gonna show this a little bit closer. Just double check here. Let's get this focus setting right. Here we go. So this is again the top end and the bottom of the 3D print that we're going to be applying here. This again is the Elgato FaceCam with the stock. So we'll take this out just for comparison's sake. We'll hold on to this piece over here because that's what we're going to want to compare to this. But as mentioned, this is the piece that slots into and pretty much replaces this. You can see like the dimensions are pretty much identical. And then this cover, this physical cover, latches onto this hinge kind of piece over here. And then we create those. So let's go ahead and take this out. And that's two. And then these are the two lids that we have off of this. So we're just going to punch them out. This is actually my first 3D print job that I've issued out myself. So we'll see how this goes. I know there's a lot of people that are active in that creator community. I don't have a printer. I know that a couple friends have been looking into potentially grabbing printers for themselves. Yeah, these would be the external lids, glossy on the back there. You can see some of the print lines there, but essentially again these are two sets. Let's compare these two again. These are pretty much identical in shape because they're supposed to port in to the existing front of the camera. And then as we take these two, as mentioned, this is the part that ports into the camera. This is the hinge that gets clipped on here somehow. I don't know if it's this way. Yes, so it's this way, not this way. So you want this pin or this peg side out. But these are the two parts that you want to snap together. This is the base piece, so it has the female kind of port piece, and then this outside lid is where it has these two rounded kind of pegs. So I'm going to go ahead and try and slot those in. Hopefully this is nice and easy. Oh, and already an issue with the 3D print is the fact that this is too rigid. So I might need a softer plastic to go. So I'll have to reissue this print job. Even just taking a look at it right now, it looks like it is pretty tight on the print. So again, we'll look into a more flexible plastic. I'll also try and find that piece and see if I could super glue it. The other thing I wonder is if I could actually heat it up under hot water or something like that, just to kind of soften it up a bit and then give it another go on the front over here. So let's take a look. So I found the support piece that snapped. And it looks like, just taking a closer look here, it is hollow right on that piece over here. So I imagine that if it was actually, you know, printed solid versus hollow, then it'd have more rigidity, because you can see over here as well, that kind of square rectangular shape. So it's not quite solid. But also, again, the type of material that it was printed on as well. So I wonder if I can make that request for something more, a little bit more soft and a little bit more give. But just a sec. So I'm actually just giving my the lid here a little bath. So I'm trying to again soften up those two pegs on the top there. Maybe again it'll give it a little bit more give, a little bit more flexibility, so it doesn't snap. And then if not, then you know I'll have to run the print job or find another solution with a more you know, flexible material. But compared to 30 or 40 bucks, which may have still been the case if I ordered this on Etsy and it's still snapping, that could have been an issue. So I paid $4. I think it was like $1.50 or something like that as like a setup fee, and then the materials for the actual print. So I don't mind, and maybe I might even be able to salvage the other one actually with some super glue. So we'll see if that works out. Just letting this cook for a little while longer. All right, let's see if this will work. A little softened up. I'm actually going to hold the outsides so they don't have so much pressure. They don't bend too far. And that did seem to work. But I just noticed I mounted it the wrong way, so I'm going to make that quick change here. Come on. And again, that solidified very quickly, and now this is kind of snapped in there. So I'll have to figure out if I can salvage that again with some super glue. So not a lot of success on my first 3D print, to be honest. But again, maybe something I could salvage with super glue. So let's try this out again. Let's see here. This should be this way. Yeah, so let's try this out. Not quite. I think I'm gonna give it a second boil and see if that'll work. Two breakages, but we could see if we can salvage it. This and this. So this needs to get reboiled. This needs to get tossed in here and then super glued to this base. You could also see it right there. You know, it would be nice if that was solid to kind of keep it all as one piece, a little bit more structural integrity there, but again, we'll try and super glue it and see if it'll hold. And then this one for sure. I wonder if we could do one of these, just kind of hold it all together, and then figure out how we can get this this arm here maybe super glued in place. All right, let's check on that water again. All right, let's see if this bath will help. It definitely helped mount the first time. So we'll just let it cook. If you're just tuning in, it's these little legs, or those two peg pieces on the inside there that we're just trying to soften up. Yeah, I just nuked some water for a minute. All right, let's give it a shot. All right, that got very soft actually. So let's go ahead and try. I'm gonna run it under cold water to see if that'll help it. All right, that actually worked out. The peg is in, and the main thing that I need to do is just super glue this back to the base. So that's where it snapped right over here. So I'll just need to apply some super glue here and just let that kind of take back into place, and then I'll have this first shutter. So let's close this up. Let's know what it'll look like, and then if you notice that there are these little like flat kind of pegs, and those are the parts that actually slot into the front of the camera. So that's what it looks like. Just like the main cover over here, this would go this, like so. Should click in. Hold on just a sec. right? It's not as secure as I'd hope it would be. It seems like it's holding good, decently enough. So this again will go up on front, and then once this is back attached to the front over there, I'll be able to open and close the camera shutter like so. So let's grab some super glue and get that mounted. All right, so let's try and salvage this privacy cover here. All right, first and foremost, it's this one, because this one is the one with the actual lid that didn't snap. The main part was the area that plugs into the adapter, I guess, that slides into the front port of the camera. So again, we're gonna try and just put a little bit of super glue at the very front and let that cure. But again, the main flaw that I see, well, I mean, aside from the type of material being very rigid, is this gap over here in the design. So that one area there, I feel that if, I don't know if it's possible, but if that was solid and not hollow, you could see over here, you know, that's where it snapped. Similarly, that's exactly what happened on the other one, where one of the arms broke off, and you could see, again, it's super hollow over here. So maybe they'll improve on that in the future. We'll see. Let's get... That's hilarious. The pin from the super glue got stuck in the nozzle. So I wonder if this is still usable. Like, I gotta get a set of pliers to pull that out. Got to be mindful too, not to be too aggressive here and then find out that leaks on the cutting board here. All right, so the needle is out. It's maybe the last use, depending on if we have success here. I'm gonna put this in the top, just so I don't lose it. All right, so I'm gonna apply a little bit of super glue right in that gap. If it hasn't already, it may have actually. Feels pretty solid. Trying to see if there's any liquid that I could salvage here. A craggle. No, it looks like it fully oxidized, so that is going to be a bust. Do I have more is the question, and if not, then that may be as much as we could do for now, and then may need to circle back, but let me keep digging. All right, found another source. Let's see if this works as well, or if it's also Dunsky. All right, let's see what we're working with here, if anything. Might be SOL on this one too. Let's see if we got... Not sure if it's getting blocked there. This might be all she wrote. Let's check again. Completely dry. Yep, looks like we're tapped. So that's another no-go. Going. All right, looks like that was a bust, literally. Couple things. So 3D printed the privacy cover for the Elgato FaceCam based on a design we found on Thingiverse, and we ran into two structural issues, and part of that could be, again, me to blame by not understanding the material that we were using here, a little too rigid, and not softening it up the first time. But the first one that we had here, this support piece peg broke off, so that you could see that it's kind of square hollow design. So my feedback is, I wonder, and I don't know if this is correct, if this was printed as one solid piece of plastic, if that would helped with the structural integrity of just kind of having that on board. But basically I will try and salvage this with some super glue and get this mounted back on. And then on the second pass, we were able to actually get this part, attached. But similarly, this piece over here, also hollow, snapped off the base. So this should be attached this way so that this privacy shutter can close like so. So just like the other one, I'm going to try and salvage this by super gluing this piece back onto the base. And yeah, we'll revisit this in future because unfortunately my super glue, both bottles, have dried out. So maybe at some point later today or even tomorrow, we'll go ahead and try and fix that up. But the main thing that we're trying to solve for is, again, this is the existing privacy cover from Elgato, which, literally comes out, and that's that. You got to re-slot it in every single time. This 3D printed one from Thingiverse replaces that piece, but the main thing, it also has this top hinge, which I can then fold up and down without having to fully remove this every single time. So that is the goal. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and kill this stream for now. We will try and get these fixed up with some super glue, and we will see you on the next one.
Peace.